Hey YouTube, it's me, Jen, your Pudgy Picker.
And Kim.
And we are here again for another podcast, Two Sisters,
One Booth.
And this is podcast number 39. Can you believe it?
I know. Sitting here in this balmy, beautiful Cleveland weather of 35 degrees.
Well, it's better than it was a couple days ago.
Yes, -5 was a little bit too much for me.
Yeah, when you go outside and the snow is crunching,
oh,
you know it's cold when you hear the snow crunching. See, a lot of people from the South probably know, what? Snow crunching?
Why is it crunching?
It just is crunching.
It's crunchy snow.
Okay, so we're kind of continuing on from what we did last week. Last week we talked about sourcing from auctions and from thrift stores.
Yep.
So this week we're going to be talking about pros and cons of sourcing at garage sales and estate sales.
Yep.
Now, before we get into it, I want to kind of clarify where our brains are when we were making this list. When we talk about estate sales in this particular, podcast, we're talking about professionally run estate sales. Because when I think of an estate sale that isn't professionally run, it's essentially a garage sale.
Yep.
It's just saying, hey, I'm moving to Nebraska and I need to sell all my crap.
Mm-hmm.
So even if it's not professionally run, it's essentially a garage sale.
That's it.
That's where my brain was going. So when we talk about estate sales, we're going to be talking about professionally run. Like a company comes in, they price everything, they run the sale, they do all the numbers, the family doesn't have to participate at all if they don't want to.
Set everything up.
Yeah, and they get a certain cut, etc., etc. So that's what we're going to be talking about.
Yep.
So, but first, before we go to estate sales,
I thought we were going to take a commercial
I know,
break.
I got you all excited there. So we're going to be talking about the pros and cons of garage sailing. Now, garage sailing is probably one of my favorite ways of sourcing.
You know, garage sailing, my when I put that in my phone, it doesn't like that word.
No,
it doesn't want to give it to me.
No, it does not consider it a verb.
It's not a real word.
Well, it is in my world.
I was going to say, if it comes out of my mouth, it must be a real word, or I couldn't go say it.
There you go.
There you go.
So garage sales, I think, are, like I said, one of my favorite ways to source. So let's talk about the pros first. Things are cheap.
Yes.
We love cheap.
I've been to a few where it's like, you are not the Taj Mahal.
Yeah.
Where did you come up with that price?
This is secondhand stuff, lady.
That's
this is not Neiman Marcus.
Well, when I bought it, it was $250. Well, guess what?
Well,
we're $250 now.
As Mr. Pudgy Picker often says, sucks to be you. Or if people put like a readout of, this is going for this on eBay.
Yeah, right.
Oh, that really irks me, because if I offer, well, on eBay, I'm like, well, then maybe you should list it on eBay.
Yeah,
and I say it with a big smile. But it's still meant to be condescending.
Well, it's too much work, and it's, well, guess what?
Well,
you
that's why
price.
you can demand a higher price, my friend.
Right.
So,
and just because it's listed for that, don't mean that's what they're going to get for it either.
That's true. So, cheaper prices. I love to go to a garage sale and find all kinds of awesome stuff, and it's a good cheap price. And when you pick up something that you know you can sell for a decent amount, and it's got $1 or even 50 cents on it, you're like, woohoo!
Well, that's one podcast we'll have to do, is the difference of our style and bartering at garage sales. Because
yeah,
I'm different than
someone is the kind of person that if it says 50 cents, she'll offer like 20.
No,
one of these days you're going to get popped 50%. In the mouth. That's insulting. Half
not always. No, not always.
Man, I'm surprised you don't get kicked off more properties. They just look at you and just point and go, get out. Just get out. So, yeah, cheap prices is definitely one. I think it's fun to garage sale.
It is.
Personally.
I like to chit-chat with the people.
Yeah.
Get to know them a little bit.
Yeah, talk to their pets. Talk to them, bond. So when you offer that lower price,
there you go.
They're like, well, you're a friend now, so I got to give you a good price.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
The buddy discount.
I meet lots of interesting doggies and...
Hey, you get a lot of information. I learned a lot of stuff from a lot of people at garage sales and conversations.
Yeah, and especially if you're buying something that you know is pretty old, you can say, wow, this is, have you guys, how old do you think this is? And they'll say, oh, well, I'm this age, and it was hanging on the wall in my parents' living room for 50 years. So you get that background information, which is really awesome, especially if it's something you've probably never run into before.
I was going to say, because sometimes the item can be worth more in value when you have the true history behind it, too.
Yeah, yeah.
It adds value to it.
It's really neat to see, what people have to offer. And this may sound terrible, but I am a bit of a nosy person.
No.
In certain circumstances. I'm not like, hey, what are you doing? Where'd you get that? What'd you pay for? No, I'm not that kind of nosy. But I like to look at people's stuff because then I'm like, I know what. There are some people, I have even said this to at a garage sale. I'm like, I would love to see the inside of your house. It must be really interesting, really coolly decorated, or, So sometimes they look at you like, no.
That's how I like to be nosy, was when people leave their windows open at night.
That's why Dad always closed them. As soon as it got dark, our dad was like, close the windows.
Yeah, I know the kids are like, why do you always want to close? Because I don't want people looking in my window. Oh, ain't
like
nobody
me.
gonna look in your window. I do. There's other people that do too. But you're driving along, it's like, oh, wow, did you see that neat thing they had hanging on the wall in there? Oh, I like the way they had their living room set up.
Yeah, so, I think it's fun. It's like a treasure hunt. You never know what you're going to find. You never know what you're going to walk up. You may walk up and find nothing, and other times you're just like, because you see so many good stuff, or it's, it's a lot of good prices or whatever, or you see the way... the decorating style of the people who live there, or the certain places that they buy from. So you get excited because it's quality stuff. It's a good price or whatever. So it's a lot of fun to look through things. You just never know what you're going to find. You can find lots of stuff. I think this is when we have garage sale season around here in northeastern Ohio. I know I get a lot of things to last me through fall and winter. I like to stock up. I do have the room for it, so it's an awesome time to get a lot of stuff. And if you see, a lot of things priced at a good price, I don't worry about the room. I know I got lots of room to put all these goodies in. It's also a great time to buy seasonal items. Yes. I know when it's 95 and you're looking at snowmen decorations, you don't want to think about it.
I do, because I love snowmen.
Well, that's you. But, a lot of people, or if people have coats, and nobody wants to think about snow falling when it's 90 degrees outside and you're sweating. But that's a great time to find summer decor, fall decor, winter decor. And usually it's at a dirt cheap price.
Yep.
So that is definitely a great time to pick up seasonal items. I think a lot of the thrift stores are getting to a point where they're holding...
They're holding it back until this season.
It back. They never used to do that.
They put out whatever they had, but not anymore.
Yeah. So when I go in now, I have a hard time this time of year finding a short sleeve shirt. And I'm like, look, I'm a big girl. We're hot. Not everybody wants to wear a sweater or a sweatshirt or a long sleeve shirt, my friend.
Now I'll tell you how cold it was. How cold was it? Okay, all the old ones will understand that one. Not you young whippersnappers. Now I done forgot what I had. My train derailed. What I was going to say. Oh, how cold it was. Last Saturday, when I was working as a cashier at our store, I knew it was going to be cold because it was cold.
You knew it was going to be cold because it was cold. Wow, you're a real detective.
I'm telling you. Keep following me. You never know what you're going to learn. But I actually, because I'm warm all the time too. Not quite as bad as Jenny is, but I'm warm all the time. So I dress in layers because I know they'll be coming off. But I actually wore a sweatshirt. And not only did I wear a sweatshirt, but I wore a snap-up sweatshirt over the top of my sweatshirt.
That's weird.
And I didn't take it off till like late in the afternoon. That's how cold it was.
Yeah. I'll tell you how cold it was. I went to let our dogs out. We have a door that goes directly to our backyard that's fenced in. And I was loading the dishwasher, so I was rinsing things off. And I opened up the door, and then I put my hand on the screen door to open it up. I got stuck to the handle. It was
Well,
not
it's a
funny.
good thing that you didn't push it open with another part of your body.
Oh my gosh, it scared me because I was like, ooh. And then Mr. Pudgy Picker's sitting at the dining room table, and he goes, "What?" And it was like,
probably laughed.
I pulled my hand away real quick, but I wasn't so attached to it that I like lost any
No
skin
layers.
or anything. But I was like, whoa. Because it reminds you, years ago, if you have the ice cube trays that were metal.
Yes.
Whoever thought of those? It was a great invention at the time. But if your hands were even remotely damp and you touched that,
You were stuck.
you were stuck. But at least you could carry it over to the sink and pour some warm water over it or something.
Okay, so we got sidetracked again. Sorry.
Anyway, we're always going down different rabbit holes. What
yeah.
can we say? People love that about us.
Oh well, that's good because that's what they're going to get.
That's what you're going to get.
That's
No
what you
choice.
signed up for.
The other thing good about garage sales is that you can bargain or you can bundle. We love to bundle.
Bundle.
So if you
Have you ever bundled yourself up by accident instead of down?
yes,
You total it up in your head and it's like $12 and you get it all. So you go up there and go, well, I'd like to offer for all of this maybe 15, and then you're standing there and your brain's going, what? Shut up. And they're looking at you like, did I miss something? Because that's not okay.
That's when you pick it up, turn around, and go, "I'll be back in a minute. Let me rethink this."
Oh.
So yeah, so if you have only one item or something, and then you offer, you bargain a lower price, or I'll do what you do. I'll go around, and if I find a lot of stuff, I'll start piling it. I'll say, "Can I set my stuff here? Because I'm still looking." So I'll get a lot of things together, and I'm mentally keeping track of how much it is. And then when I go back up, I can offer. And then they kind of, you see them trying to calculate it out. And then they'll, okay. So, when you bundle, that's a good way. Because if you get one thing or something, maybe they might not feel as inclined to lower the price. But if you have several things, then they're like, I'm getting rid of a lot of stuff, so I'm willing to bargain.
That, and you can tell by the look on some of their faces, they get all confused and they're like, okay, just because they don't know what to say. I like that.
We like confusion.
I like that.
When it works to our advantage,
yeah, that's
of
true.
course.
Unless you're building too high.
So what are the last pro I have written down is you can find honey holes. A honey hole. So that's when you go up and you look and you see really good stuff and really good prices, and you're like grabbing stuff.
Shaking.
Yeah. And I tell you, I've done that before, and I just start grabbing and I just start making piles. And that's when you really get some good stuff. There are a few places, and I know this is probably against you or against your religion, but when I get some really good prices, I just pay for what it is. And you will always...
I always try to
You will always bargain.
My daddy always said it never hurts to ask. The worst you can hear is no.
Yeah. That's right before he said no. Because that was usually the answer.
That's why I never ask much.
Hey, could I? No.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Never mind. So those are the pros that I have written down that we discussed for garage sales. Now the cons. There's always a downside. Yep. It may only be seasonal. So that's definitely the case with us. We have lots of snow now, and nobody's having garage sales.
No.
Now, I know in places where it doesn't snow, I know there's a lot of people who don't really garage sale in the summer because it's like 110 degrees.
Like in Las Vegas.
Yeah, so I understand that there's certain, times a year that you may find more, but ours is, just during the summer, a little bit of spring, depending on how eager people are, or a little bit into the fall because people who have been wanting to have a garage sale finally realize their time is running out.
Yep.
And they're in a rush to have a garage sale before the snow flies. Or a lot of times, I think they want to do it after the kids go back to school. Because it's just that big of a mess. And to get everything ready and have kids running around and trying to play with stuff and take stuff back in the house. So, yeah. So for us, definitely It is definitely a seasonal thing. But I don't think I could go at it like I do in the summer all year round, or more than 3.5 months. I don't think I could. Because by the end of summer, I've pretty much had it.
Oh, no. I don't know how you do that many in a day. I could never.
Another con is that it does take a lot of time. You know, you're driving from one place to another. If you are in an area that has a street sale or a neighborhood sale, that's great. That, you know, you hit a lot at once, but that's not always the case. So, I mean, I'm out probably 5-6 hours on a Thursday. So that's a lot of time.
It is.
It is most of the time it's worth it for me, but still that's a long day. And if it's 95 degrees outside and you're out in it, in and out of the car for that long, by the end of the day, you've just about had enough.
And it's hot and your car doesn't have time to cool off, so you're sweating in between. And yeah, it's pretty bad.
So another thing is, it does, for me, some people just get in the car and just drive and look for signs. And if you live in an area where you can do that, I would end up wasting a lot of time. So it takes me, I would say, about an hour, no, not less than that, but not much more, to plan out my route. I get a newspaper, I have a few apps, I go on Craigslist, and I compile all that information. I sit down with my GPS. I type everything in. The title, I put the hours of the sale, so that if it gets later in the day and it's only like 9 to 2 and it's 2:30, I know I'm not going to waste my time going there.
Or if one has a specific item listed that you really wanted to remember to look for.
Yeah, if I have one that has some things listed that I'm like, wow, I really want to.
Like sewing,
yeah,
crafts,
something like that, then
fabric.
I will write yeah or wow or something in the title, so that when I see that, I know I try to make that a priority.
Yep.
I've had people ask me, do you go in the morning? Do you go in the afternoon? Do you go in the morning for a good selection or in the afternoon for a good price? I'm like, yes. Yep. Because I'm out 5 hours. I can't hit them all first and I can't hit them all last. So I just start in the morning and go. Yep. And when I hit it, I hit it. Yep. So, you know, I mean, if you're only hitting a few, then you have that choice. Well, I'm going to go early so I can find a good selection, or I'll go late when people are desperate to get rid of stuff. That's personal preference. I don't have that luxury. When I think our record is 52 in one day.
That's just crazy.
It is crazy.
Are you a crazy woman or what?
I am a crazy woman, indeed.
Oh my gosh.
So I think that's our record, and that's just crazy. And I say our record. I talk about Connor and I. My son goes and buys a lot of things to resell. So yeah. So it does take time to plan that out. Let's see. It can tire you out. Like I said, it's hot outside and you're sweating and you're getting tired. At the end of the day, you're walking slower. You're getting in and out of the car slower.
Oh, yeah.
By the end of the day, you just feel just like...
wrung out.
Yeah, wrung out.
Rode hard, put away wet.
Yep, that's what Dad used to say. Another thing is, and I don't necessarily find this a problem for me personally, but some people can say, well, we're not just going to have the sale because the weather's bad. Most people, if they put all that time and effort and it's set up in the garage, they're going to have the garage sale. So if it's sprinkling and 9 out of 10 people are like, oh, it's raining, I'm not going to go garage sailing. I'm out there because I'm getting the stuff that other people have just decided they're not going to go.
I hate to drive all the way to a place, especially when it's out of my way and you pull up and there's not a sign, there ain't a balloon, there's not a flyer, there's a nothing. It's like, thanks a lot, people, for not pulling your ad off of Craigslist, so I would have known that you weren't having it in the rain.
Yeah, usually if I'm out and I'm just hitting one to another, then I mean, it's mostly not that big of a deal. But like you said, some of them are off the beaten path a little bit. It's different for you
because you're in an area where you have a great deal more in a condensed area than I do. Yeah. Because in my area, I have to drive ton of places before I can get to one because it's more spread out from me. You have a lot more out
well,
this
from
way.
where I live to about 20 to 25 minutes away, I will usually I'll hit the ones that are open earliest on my way to the opposite end, to the farthest point. So I'll hit the early ones, and then I just start heading back toward home. So that's usually the way I do it. And you know, sometimes you pull up and they've closed up. Most of the time, I think people just stay open, because if you spend a lot of time doing that and it's in the garage and you think, I'm just going to have it, but I'm glad because it weeds out a lot of people. And a lot of people who garage sale do it just they're shopping for themselves, or it's a hobby or something to do. So if it rains, they're like, well, forget that. I'll just go find something else to do. I mean, this is part of my job. So if it's raining, unless, there's a hurricane and there's cows flying around, I'm going.
Yeah. Even if someone wants to buy your umbrella for $20.
If she would offer 10, I would have. Was it 10 or 20? And she's like, I'll give you $1. I'm like, I just look at her like, you are crazy.
And you know what you get for $1? And I'd have just given her a blank stare. That's all you get.
Yeah, I'm like, I'm not going to get my hair wet for that price. No, thank you.
Doesn't even cover the mousse I put in it.
Amen to that. So those are the pros and cons that we thought of off the top of our head for garage sales. So now we're going to talk about estate sales. Professionally run estate sales. There are pros and cons to this as well. So let's go opposite and do cons first. Because the first thing you think of in a professionally run estate sale is it can be pricey.
Yes, it can.
So these are people who do this for a living. They know basically how to price things, what is valuable, how they're going to price it out, how they're going to display it. And they are rarely willing to bargain.
Yep.
Because you'll say, well, can I give you... No. So,
nope.
Yeah, most of the time. So it
Not
can...
until they're forced to get rid of it quick.
So, yeah, it can be pricey. Estate sale companies, they know a lot... they know a lot about the value of items. I know when I go in, the main room, the living room, has what they consider valuable. Art, jewelry, what's some other things that you think?
Glass.
Yeah, collectibles, name brand things, that type of thing. There's a lot of things that that they have in that first room. I can almost guarantee I'll walk right past most of that, because that's the stuff that they're watching. And that is the stuff like crystal, glassware, that kind of thing.
Yeah, and unless that's something that you're looking for and you're selling and doing well with. But for us, it's not.
Yeah, so when they put that emphasis on those items and they have it in that first main room when you go in, you kind of know that that's what's going to be the most expensive. Another con is that they are fewer and farther between. It's not like going to garage sales where you're going to keep driving, and if one doesn't pan out or you don't find anything, you think, well, I'll just go to the next one. These are, run pretty much all year around, which is a pro, but, it's not like you're just going to go and hit 5 or 6 in a row. You see it, or if it's in your area or where you're going or where you're going to be for that day, you can stop in and look. But it is not something that, I'm going to go out and hit 20, 30 estate sales today. It just doesn't happen that way. Now, some of the pros. Now, we're talking about the con of things being pricey and them knowing the value of things. The pros are they may not understand, or they may not know the value of everything. So there are things that you can find at the sale that are worth some money that they overlook, or they don't think it's worth their time.
Yeah.
So that is a good thing.
Yeah, because you got to think they have a certain period of time to process everything, get it all set up, research what they need. They go for high-end items first. Their objective is to make the most amount of money up front before they have to discount and get rid of anything. So they're going to look for the higher-end stuff. And they run out of time, or they just don't care about the smaller stuff and they miss things.
Yeah. And a lot of things I don't even think that they would bother to research, because they're like, that's not where the money is. So that being said, when you go in the main area, if it's set up in somebody's house, it's usually like living room or dining room area that has the valuable items. I like to look in the garage, the basement, bathrooms, believe it or not, if they have them open, and there's, you know, stuff in there. And what was the other thing? Oh, if they have an attic, that's good too. Yeah, garage, basement, all those areas where they're like, oh, we'll just throw it out there. You know, we'll have the valuable stuff right here.
Oh, utility rooms, like, you know, the room where the furnace and stuff is.
Yep.
You can find some neat stuff in there.
So, yeah, I mean, because you consider a lot of the stuff that they have, if they have stuff in the attic, they're not gonna be watching that stuff because they're not worried about people walking off with it. Because it's like, well, you know, somebody will want it, but whatever, just sell it. So, you know, that's where I go to look for items, because I know that's where I'm going to find some value. So, you know, you can think that you're an estate sale company and everybody's so knowledgeable, but there are things you're going to miss. Yeah. Just like in a thrift store, you think, oh, well, they have all the research, they know what everything's worth. That's not necessarily true.
No.
And there are some things I purchased to resell on eBay and in our booth that do really well that just aren't on their radar at all. So that's a good thing. Another pro is that you may be able to get a really good price on the last day. I know Ann from Ann Eckhart, used to be CN Save. She mainly hits them on the last day. I don't even think she bothers to go the first couple of days. A lot of estate sale companies will have a discount or, you know, make some kind of bargain that will make items more reasonable. And by that time, you know, the selection isn't what it was the first day, but it's probably still worth it, you know, to at least look. So if you know some estate sale companies that do the discount on the last day, and it's like, it's not even worth your time to go the first day because it's going to be like, are you kidding me? It's like a department store. Then maybe, you know, you do want to wait for that last day and not even go and look the first couple of days.
Yep.
Estate sale companies are all different. They do things differently. I know she's been to some that they have like a warehouse, and they'll have a sale of stuff at the warehouse.
Yeah, stuff that didn't sell at the other ones, they'll bring back to the warehouse and just keep gathering it up until they have enough there to have another sale.
Yeah. So a lot of estate sale companies have can do like an email list where you can sign up and they'll say, hey, this is where we're going to be next.
Yep.
This is the hours. This is the type of items we're going to be offering. So that's kind of cool. So, you know, if you go to an auction, or not auction, listen to me. If you go to an estate sale, a lot of times they'll have their cards and stuff there with an email address, or you can sign up with them. Yeah,
so
they'll even have like you said, a sign-up paper there where you can say, hey, if you want to know what's going on in the future, let us know. And that's to their benefit too. Yeah. Because the more advertising and drumming up they can do of people coming in, the better off their bottom line is going to be as well. So getting on the mailing list, that might be a good idea. And there's so many different companies, so many different estate sale companies. And if you live in a pretty populated area, you can pretty much, you know, find them anywhere. How many offhand do we know already? I personally know that do that. Yeah, we know people who buy estates.
Yep.
And what they'll do is they'll just offer a price, come get everything, just pack it up and take it. Yep. They don't actually they'll have a shop or somewhere they sell it, but they'll offer an outright price. And that's kind of good in a way if you're trying to get a house like listed or sold, or you need to be out at a certain time. It's just give me a price and let's bargain, and then just pack it up and get it out of here because, you know, we have to be out at a certain time or whatever. Yeah. So, and that can be a very difficult time because most of the time when people have estate sales professionally run, they have passed away. Someone has passed away in the family, or they're going in a nursing home situation. And a lot of times when somebody's elderly or has to go in a nursing home or passes away, their family lives here, there, and everywhere. So it's not always easy for them to say, well, I'll come in and I will organize a garage sale. It's done in one. It's so overwhelming, you know, emotionally and otherwise to deal with that at the time it's happening. So even though they do take a decent chunk of money, that's probably something you just don't want to think about. You just want to get it done and not worry about it and, because there's so many other things you got to be dealing with at that time too. What else? You can find lots of things. A lot of estate sales have a lot of vintage and good stuff, because if you figure it's a person who's passed away or who is at the age of going into a nursing home situation, the things that they've collected over the years are a wide variety of interesting items that are good for resale. So that's definitely a pro. Also, they're year-round. I think I mentioned this already. Unlike a garage sale, when someone, you know, has to be moved or they pass away, it can happen in the dead of winter, and the items have to be sold and taken care of right then and there.
Yeah.
So it's not like, well, we'll wait until spring or summer and have a garage sale. So that is definitely also something that is useful, that it's a good idea. It's year-round. You can always probably find one. Let's see. What else? I don't know. I guess that's about all that I had. It's, you know, there's pros and cons in any situation of sourcing. But everybody has their favorites. I mean, if I had to list them in order of auctions, thrift stores, garage sales, and estate sales, I would say
Garage
sales first. Thrift store second.
Yep.
Auctions third.
Yep.
And last would be estate sales.
Yep.
Professionally run estate sales.
Yes.
So, you know, we all have our preferred way of acquiring merchandise, and they're all very different. They all have their pluses and minuses, and, you know, it tends to be the most fun part of our job. Sourcing is going out and treasure hunting and finding goodies.
Yep.
Then you have, if you sell online or if you sell in a physical space like a booth, like we do, there's certain places where you bottleneck.
Yeah.
Getting things cleaned up, fixed up, priced, you know, any of the number of things, but definitely sourcing seems to be, for most people, the fun part.
The shopping.
Yes. And, you know, for me,
the thrill of the hunt.
I'm a very thrifty,
frugal
person.
She's so tight with her money, she squeaks when she walks.
Yes, I do.
She's so tight with her money that when she walks, their dogs come a-running.
I'll answer to that.
So high
pitch, or you squeeze the nickel or you squeeze a nickel that the buffalo cries. I've heard that one too. So, yeah, and I'm not the kind of person that just says, I'm bored, I'm going to go shopping for myself. I just don't. I go grocery shopping.
Who's ever bored? I don't think I've been bored. I've been bored since I was like 5 years old.
And you never said that at home.
Oh, no.
Because they would find something for you to do.
Yeah.
I'm bored. Oh, you're bored. Okay, come here. Let me give you this list of things to do.
Here's the toothbrush. Go scrub the basement floor.
So, I mean, we're making it sound terrible,
I know. Dad, no. Scrub the floor with the toothbrush.
No, it's just one of those things that I'm not like, I'm bored, let's just go to Walmart and walk around. I'm just never that way. I go to Walmart maybe once a month. And that's for very specific things. I go grocery shopping every week. I go clothes shopping when absolutely necessary. Yeah. And I just bought myself some underwear, and I bought them online. I didn't even go.
Aren't you getting a little free with personal knowledge here?
I don't care. It's
so
just,
what color were they? No.
Gray and dark gray and black. Yeah,
we already know they're jockeys, so
I know.
Might as well throw that out there too.
See, that's one of the
creatures of habit.
Yeah, I know. I like them, and that's I'm cheap, but I will buy high-end underwear. I do have my
priorities.
Yes, I do. My standards. So yeah, and I mean, with so much things that you can buy online now, the idea of just getting in a car, going somewhere and just wandering around and looking at stuff, I'm not that way. But when I get that bug where I want to go and look at stuff, I can go to the thrift store and I can buy stuff because I know I'm not going to have to dust it. I'm not going to have to look at it. And I'm going to make money on it. So it's the best of all worlds. Yeah. So I get that girly shopping bug thing out of my system and I end up making money. So... yeah, so I think it works out for everybody.
There you go.
So that is all that we have. Do you have anything else to add?
No, not a thing.
Not a thing.
Nada.
We covered it quite well.
Oh, we did.
So we hope you enjoyed our podcast this week. Please give this video podcast a thumbs up. You can leave a comment down below, or you can email a question or comment directly to me, jen@pudgypicker.com. You can follow me on Twitter, and you can also follow me on Instagram under The Pudgy Picker. I don't tweet and all that a lot, so if you do follow me, you will not be bombarded day and night with stuff. I see stuff occasionally that's cute. I think I do it a lot more in garage sale season because I see funny signs and stuff. So, yeah.
Mannequins tied to poles.
Yes, I pose and take pictures with them. So that is all we have. We will see you next week. And until then,
okay.
I could say happy picking, but no, we say
goodbye.
bye.
Because I have seen going.